10th, 2025, the 294th day of the Sex Offender Administration. A police officer, Roger Smith, 59, was shot and killed in the line of duty in a North Carolina hospital's emergency department lobby on Saturday. 29-year-old Benji Martin Jr. has been charged with murder. For clarification, the officer was shot in the line of duty and not in the crack of his ass. 3 people were shot dead at Northside Landscape Supply Company in San Antonio, Texas. The suspect in the shooting, 21-year-old Jose Hernandez, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. All 4 people were employees of the landscaping company. San Antonio police are still trying to weed out the motive. At least 4 are dead and 13 others were injured in Tampa, Florida, when a driver, 22-year-old Silas Sampson, lost control of a vehicle early Saturday while moving at a high speed, crashing into the patio area of Bradley's on 7th and hitting more than a dozen people. Silas Sampson was detained at the scene of the crash and taken into custody. I guess drinks are on the house, and the ground, and the car. This has been Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with the headlines and punchlines for November 10th, 2025, the 294th day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact.
I'm broken.
Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
I am broken.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
I've got the God buttons everywhere. Everything. Oh, I'm just broken.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Buttons to push.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
I'm kind of bright, right? I don't have the energy to kind of dull it down.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Not today. There will be no laughing. Well, if you want to laugh at me, go ahead. All yours. You see the tears in my eyes? Right. Not like Willie, like, nobody let me cry. Although, probably manifest that. Oh, yeah. Good morning, folks. It is Monday, the worst Monday ever of Mondays. All the Mondays that you ever had, this is the worst, well, that I've ever had. This is the worst one. You see the sign is just all, and I don't have the energy right now. It's just glowing. It's reflecting the light. I don't have the energy to mess with it. I'm broken, man. I got the shit beat out of me yesterday by 3 ICE agents. Sort of saved my life by another, I'm presuming, ICE agent, a boss, a supervisor. No joke here. This is, yesterday I did a paint party in Cold Spring Harbor, New York. Cold Spring Harbor, a relatively affluent area, but it's not too far from Huntington Station. Huntington Station, a trouble spot, a place where there has been gang stuff and activity and whatnot, and people have been deported and grabbed up over there by ICE. And GPS took me through Huntington Station on my way home from the party yesterday, and I was dying of thirst. And so I stopped for a bottle of water at a Mexican deli. And as I came out, a guy with a black mask on his face says, "Show me some ID." And I think I'm getting robbed. That's why I just hear him barking at me. I'm not sure what he's saying. And then he yelled it again, "Show me some ID." And it started to occur to me that, oh, is this a fucking ICE agent? He's got a black mask on. And I went to take one step towards my car where my wallet was, so I could show some ID. And the guy started wrestling with me. And my instinct is to wrestle back. And so we were tussling a little bit. And before I know it, I got blindsided by another guy in a black mask. And then before you know it, they have me on the ground. And a third one jumps on my legs and starts pounding on my legs with his boots. One of them sort of George Floyded me and put his knee on the back of my neck, and I'm still fighting, and I'm calling his mother a skank whore and whatever, and just like screaming at the top of my lungs. And the guy starts screaming at me in Spanish. I think he's telling me what to do. I don't fucking speak Spanish. And I screamed at, "I don't fucking speak Spanish." And then I heard somebody bark from about 10, 15 feet away. Well, what I'm presuming is the supervisor. They all stopped. And he said, "Get up." And they let me up. And the guy's holding me. He's trying to put cuffs on me. And now I'm still tussling. And so the guy's, he said, one guy yells out, "He's resisting arrest." I was like, "I'm not resisting arrest. Nobody told me I was under arrest. Nobody presented any ID that they were fucking cops. I think I'm getting robbed." And so the guy walks me over to the car. I show him my ID. And he says, "Oh, you're from Shore. What are you doing here?" I was like, "I was getting a bottle of water on my way home." And the one guy goes, "Yeah, you're going home, Spick." Yeah, I'm going home. Yeah, I'm going home. Oh, but he meant going home to like wherever he thinks I'm from. Beat me up pretty good. I mean, my shoulder is fucking killing me. My hip is killing me this morning. So I'm not. It's a miracle I'm here. I didn't sleep at all. Could not get comfortable all night. I mean, just in pain. My wife said I should have went to the emergency room and reported it to the cops and sued. Like, who am I going to sue? These guys are not accountable to anybody. First of all, they have black masks on. None of them ID'd themselves to me as ICE agents. I'm just assuming they were ICE agents, even at this point. I think it's a pretty logical guess, considering it was Huntington Station and there have been some deportations from there. I didn't even know where I was. But this is the problem. When we have Nazis on the street, there is, I mean, just grabbing people up, just yelling, "Show me some ID." First of all, is it illegal to step out of your car without ID on you? Was I breaking any laws by not having my wallet in my pocket? But then just 3-on-1. For an old man like me, you know what? People go, "Oh, you got your ass kicked." Yeah, well, you know what? 3-on-1. It took 3 of them to fucking hurt me. That's my pride speaking. But we are out of control. And this is not, oh, poor me. This is poor America. We are living in a time where people with masks on don't have to identify themselves as cop. My first instinct was I'm getting fucking robbed by some dude with a mask on just yelling shit at me. I mean, it didn't take me long to figure out I'm not getting robbed. But at that point, my heart is beating, my adrenaline's rushing. I don't know what's going on. And now I'm wrestling with a guy 40 years younger than me, getting bashed, blindsided by somebody else, another guy kicking me, and then they start George Floyding me. I'm not kidding you. They were choking me with a knee to the back of the neck. And I did think I'll go to the emergency room. And then I'm like, then I'm sure the cops are going to come and this is going to escalate and I'm going to find myself in a really ugly position. So I drove home in pain. And then I get home, my wife's yelling at me that I should sue. Like, who the fuck am I going to sue? You think they're going to, first of all, they didn't ID, yeah, 3 guys in black masks in Huntington Station. Who am I suing? Who's going to be held accountable for this? And this is the problem, America. due process isn't a thing. Even when the cops arrest people, they identify themselves as cops. They wear badges. These guys were just thugs in camis and a black mask. Army boots on the back of my neck and on my legs, which I fucking can't move. So that's my story. So I'm in a lot of pain. GD's not in a lot of pain. GD's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because, wow, the Democrats seem to have caved, according to what I'm reading. I didn't pay attention to the news until just a few minutes ago, but everybody's saying the Democrats caved and the government's going to be open. Democrats are angry at Democrats, but GD doesn't have to look for trinkets probably after tomorrow morning, so he's happy. Anyway, later on in the show today, we have a treasure hunter. Yeah, a treasure hunter. Dr. C.V. Pratt, who was an author, a retired Air Force colonel, who is literally a treasure hunter. He's going out there digging up hidden treasures. And I love it. I love it. If I were if I were able to, I'd get his book today and I'd get a shovel and I'd go out there and I'd go start looking for treasure. Pirate booty. Problem I have is he putting out a book. Everybody's going to be doing it, and there's no room in the treasure hunting field for everybody. If it was just me and him, it'd be a good thing. But he's blowing it. He's a blabbermouth. I'm sorry. I yelled at my cat this morning because she wanted food, and I can't do it. So she's scared. She's hiding under the bed because I yelled at her. This is the morning. Good Monday morning. Anyway, I had some commercials I was working on a commercial. I didn't finish it. It was for custom paint by Matt for the holidays. A great gift. Painting. I'll probably be doing that tomorrow. I want to, people can order custom paintings by me in time for the holidays and go paintwithmatt.com. No, I'm sorry. minddogtv.com/PWM. That's paint with Matt if you don't get it. Or just email me, info@minddogtv.com. Tell me what you have in mind. I'll give you a quote and we'll get it done. And a lovely idea, a gift idea, because it shows something a little different, right? It's not like, oh, I got you socks. I don't know. It's just an idea I have. And plus I need fucking money. That's why. So I'm going to play a commercial. We'll say hello to GD, and then I'll cry some more about how my hip hurts. My hip more than my shoulder this morning. Last night the shoulder was fucking killing me. Now it's the hip this morning. I need, you know what? My wife called. She's out at Walmart. She said, "Do you want me to pick up anything for pain? Like over the counter shit? No, go to Poospatuck and pick me up everything for pain." I saw a guy Saturday morning, $69 ounces. Yeah, go get me an ounce, and I will smoke the whole thing today for pain. Anyway, this is what I'm thinking.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now I say, ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now is a man who is relieved that he is on his last trinket, GD Fenderson. Good morning, GD.
Good morning, America. MyDogTV.com. It is day 41 of our Coffee with the Dog government shutdown advent calendar. What do we have today? Available only in the official Coffee with the Dog advent calendar. It's the Trump Etch-a-Tariff Policy Writer. It's
Wow.
also good for any time you want to give your word, change your word, and forget your word. Get your official Trump etch a tariff policy writer wherever you can find the Coffee with the Dog government shutdown advent calendar, available while the shutdown and supplies last. All proceeds from sales from the shutdown calendar go to a cause.
Wow.
Cause Matt be
Cause
hurting because
yeah.
Matt is old and can't fight anymore.
Oh, fuck you.
Only three ICE agents attack him and beat him up, and he can't defend himself. Oh, woe is me! I'm such a pussy. If it was only two, I could have taken him. Oh
No,
my god!
no.
No, I'm just,
If it were only two, I still would have got beat up. But I would have got beat up less. My legs wouldn't be hurting if it were
I,
only two.
I feel your pain. Uh, I have not had anything happen like that to me recently. I was a young man when the last time something like that happened to me, and I won. So so I understand what you mean by it's the youth. You know, if you were younger, you probably could have handled them.
I don't know that. I don't know that for the pride and all that stuff. The one guy was very strong. The guy I was wrestling with, the first guy, he was very strong. He was young. He was solid, built like a football player.
So,
And,
so he wasn't one of the fat ones that you could have just.
no, he was solid, military solid. I mean, this guy, whatever he was doing, he was picked because he was gung ho about it. But he didn't seem skilled. He wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't seem skilled in wrestling or being able to bring a guy down on his own. It took me a blindside. But and listen, I'm not. Again, this sounds like I'm trying to make it seem like I could fight. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the shape, mood, or mindset to be fighting with young men on the street. But at that moment, everything was. Am I getting robbed here? This is how I'm going to die on the street, getting robbed by thugs in wherever, some strange fucking neighborhood on Long Island. It was not a good scene. But am I? First of all, it just occurred to me: is today Veterans Day or is tomorrow? Because it used
It's
to be a Monday.
tomorrow. It's
But
tomorrow.
it's not a Monday holiday. It's not one of those.
No, it's an 11/11 holiday. It's yeah.
Right. So the thing was, think I'm getting robbed here on the street, and it's just like if it weren't for that guy who told him to stop, I really think I would have been George Floyd, because at that point I couldn't breathe. It was like I totally get the George Floyd thing. I thought, I can't fucking breathe. This guy's on my neck and he's not fucking. And then the guy's yelling at me in Spanish. It's like, I don't know what you're fucking saying. But is it illegal to step out of your car and into a deli and not have your ID on you? It's like
It is if you're a spick, and obviously you're a spick, so you should know better.
Yeah.
It's a different matter of fact. We should have our resident spick, Doctor Slaptail, tell you about those things. He does not leave the house without his ID.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the house without my ID. I left my car without my ID because
Same thing. We know you poor spicks live in your car, so you left your house without your ID.
I had.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking like I'm putting on my ice hat to try to figure out why they're thinking
I
like
had
that.
my wallet in
Yeah.
the pouch part of my hoodie, and it was getting hot, so I took the hoodie off, not even thinking where's my wallet at that point, because I don't like, when I'm doing the paint parties, I don't want my wallet in my back pocket. So it was in the thing of my hoodie. And then I took the hoodie off because it was hot, and then put it on the passenger seat. And I was dying of thirst. I could see this little deli. I stopped, not thinking, oh, is this a bad neighborhood? Should I not go in here or whatever? If I were
A rich man, not
if I were Hispanic, or
right.
I did not have my license on me, I would not be here this morning. I'd be in Alligator Alcatraz or someplace waiting to go. How did they even figure out where to send me at that point? I don't know. But this is America, man. This is true Nazism. And for the people who don't understand, MAGA people, they go, wow, you cut me out of your life over Trump. No, this is what I cut you out of my life for. And it's not because it happened to me. It's because it's happening to innocent people across America every fucking day. They are taking people with no probable cause, nothing. They look Spanish. They look Mexican. They look Guatemalan, whatever I look like. and that's a reason enough to beat the shit out of me and send me someplace. I didn't even know where to send me. I got no ID. It's fucking atrocious. And my wife says, "Fucking sue." Like, that's going nowhere. If I go to try to sue, I become more of a target. Then I become persecuted. They find out who I am and they ruin my life. Let me go home. That's enough. Am I wrong?
I can't tell you what's right and wrong for you. I can only tell you that if I were in your position, I probably would be suing. Even though I know it's going nowhere, but
I'm sure I could find a lawyer to take the case pro
yeah,
bono.
yeah. It's also like ACLU, something like that would do it pro bono, something like that. But to me, it's not the act of suing, because I don't think anything would come from that. It's shining the light on the darkness that they've put across this country.
Yeah.
And the more people that share, because each of us is like a small light, and that's why they feel like they can do it, because it's like, well, that's just an individual light. We can snuff it out. That's an individual light. We can snuff it out. But if we all join our lights together, we shine it on the disease, which is this administration, and some things will change, because that's the one thing they hate. That's why they wear their masks. They hate exposure. That's why they do it in the dark. They don't want to be seen. And the way we put these things on them, the way we show them, is to shine the light. So, but I'm philosophically different than you. I believe that we still need to show the light on these people, and you believe that, whatever it is that you're believing.
Well, the only one who knew my name and address was the guy who I'm presuming was a supervisor, because he yelled at them and they got up. But I don't want to be persecuted. I mean, I don't want to give them a reason to come after me now, because they are pretty fucking ruthless. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if I give them my name, I start a lawsuit thing, all of a sudden, I don't know. We discussed this fucking memorandum that Trump signed, and I read something on Midas Touch the other day that they have no problem asking you who'd you vote for, and if you say the wrong thing, they'll take you away for that. Like, so I don't want to be persecuted. And this is what I'm fucking shaking at this point. I'm like, first of all, I'm in like pain and driving. At that point, just my shoulder was fucking screaming at me. But I'm in pain, and I'm like, I'm still full of adrenaline, and feel like I'm having a fucking stroke or a heart attack, like shaking like this. And I'm thinking, do I go to the emergency room and start getting in the system, and then they all know my name, and now they can come to my fucking house and ask me, who'd you vote for? And now, or know about, he does a podcast every day and he fucking criticizes the Fuhrer. All that stuff is going through my head, and it's like, no, I'm just gonna go home, take a hot bath, fucking take some pills. My wife doesn't have any fucking. She was storing up pills just in case, like painkillers and stuff. She threw them all out like months ago. I did not know this. I'm thinking she's got painkillers and muscle relaxers and stuff. I got nothing. I was like, I need them. So yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm hurting and little bit fucking shaken by the whole experience, but it really is. I'm just thinking about people who are here legally, who do speak Spanish, who might be going out, maybe not remembering to carry their ID or whatever, or maybe they don't have ID. That happens to them in the wrong area, and they're gone. And no due course, no due process, no recourse, no notifying next of kin that we took them. We just disappear them, like fucking disappeared. And what happened to him? We don't know. He's in the system somewhere. Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
I refuse to be frightened by these fucks. So, and if they want to come at me, come at me. I'm Stephen Ortiz. My name is right there, right there. If Stephen Ortiz, you come looking for me in Indiana, you little fucks out there in ice. Okay,
You don't
I
look
live
like
in Indiana. There can't be a whole lot of Stephen Ortizes in Indiana. Come find me. I will fight your ass. I will bite your ass, and I will kick your ass, and then I'll run it over.
I just got a notification. ICE, the new boogeyman for you. I just popped up. ICE, the new boogeyman for you. Like, what the fuck? You don't look like a Stephen Ortiz. I just want to say that. But
you don't look like you speak Spanish to me. So
But you could speak. You do look kind of Haitian or Jamaican or something like island wise. So there's that with the dreads. I mean,
Oh,
it,
okay.
it
Okay.
says maybe the mustache makes you look Mexican. It's just a skin tone, I think, and being in that neighborhood. Huntington Station is known for gang activity, and I know they've had many deportations. If I would have known I was in Huntington Station, I might not have stopped. To
Right.
be honest with you, but yeah, it was, after a very, I would say, a good party, but a little disappointed because it was, as I mentioned, an affluent neighborhood, and I didn't get a tip. Everybody was happy. They were beautiful.
You know what the tip should have been? Well, here's a
Don't
bottle
go
of
to
water.
Huntington
You don't have
Station.
to stop. Here's some bottled water. You won't have to stop on the way home.
You know what? The guy was carrying 24 bottles of bottled water when he said goodbye to me too. I was like, and that's in my head as I'm driving. It's like, damn, he could have offered me. He didn't give me a tip. He could have offered me a bottle of water as I go. Oh, here's a bottle of water for the ride home. But I am also blaming GPS because Cold Spring Harbor and this area, there's one road like Woodbury Road that will take you down to the expressway, but it didn't take me that. It took me through it took me north instead of south, and then it's got me going through residential neighborhoods, and then I end up somehow in Huntington Station. It's like, what are you doing? You want me to get fucking beat
Yeah.
up?
That's because you were using your GPS, not your GPS. It's a different setting. Or you had it on your SAP setting, your second audio program, and so they just assumed that's where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if you have, like, my GPS will detect traffic patterns ahead that for me to avoid, and it'll say, okay, you want to avoid that and go through this neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart your GPS is. Apparently not smart enough to keep your ass out of trouble.
Yeah. Now, just say, coming back to this lawsuit idea, my wife, but the funny thing is, my wife had a very easy get rich lawsuit when she had surgery on her neck and the doctor clearly fucked it up. And he admitted that he fucked it up to me while I was in the waiting room, and he was nervous and it's just stammering and all this stuff. And he screwed up. Her face was distorted for over a year because of this messed up operation. She had a lawsuit, and she refused that because on Christian principles, that's not
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah.
When it happens to me, she's like, "Oh, we could get rich." She's got.
I'm gonna tell you, and I empathize with that because I was almost killed by the doctor. Not my doctor. My doctor was a good doctor, but because of the way the insurance worked back then, you had your PPOs and your HMOs and shit like that. And so I had my own personal doctor, but the insurance did not cover me to see my own doctor. The insurance covered me to see their doctor, especially since my appendix had ruptured, and it ruptured while I was at work. And so I had to see their doctor, and their doctor let me, misdiagnose me for several days. I was almost, let me see, it happened on a Saturday. I didn't wind up in the hospital until Friday with the ruptured appendix. So, and he would not listen to me whatsoever.
And you didn't sue?
My attorney talked me out of it because he says, because I made a complete recovery. Because I made a complete recovery, the law would not support me,
Oh, that's not true, man.
And not only that, the hospital paid for, everything. In other words, everything was paid for. I didn't pay for anything. I didn't pay for the surgeries, the recovery time. I got paid for my job. I didn't lose any money. And so the pain that I went through, having a ruptured appendix, so they said, no, don't sue.
Wow.
But
and I know for a fact that because I did on jury duty recently, and there was a kid got hit by a school bus, but he walked right in front of it. It's a whole long story. I'm not even supposed to talk about the details on it, so maybe I should shut the fuck up. But I know that
but you can't, because right now you're out of your mind in pain because of ice. So you're going to talk about it because you can't control yourself.
No, I'm going to talk about the kid had made a full recovery. Right. He was back in school. He wasn't out of school that much. They were asking for damages of like I forget what they were asking for 1.5 million for this kid, and me and another juror were saying, I think like 100,000 should cover all the medical costs, all the 3 weeks he was out of school for. I mean, to me, if I was a kid, I would be willing to pay $125,000.
I was gonna say to be out of school, yeah.
But
But when was this? But when was this?
This was like last year.
Yeah,
But,
see, mine was like 30-something years ago.
Right.
There was a different mindset.
But the jurors that were arguing with us, like $125,000 isn't life-changing money. It's not supposed to be a fucking win the lottery day. It's supposed to be for your pain and suffering and your losses to recompensate you for what you lost. It's not. Automatically the kid gets a mansion now because he was stupid enough to walk in front of a bus. I'm sorry, I'm getting all emotional again. But there are 12 people arguing with me and the other guy saying no, his losses were in the $100,000 range tops, and they wanted to give him more than his lawyer was asking for. His lawyer was asking for 1.2. They want $2 million should like that. Oh, but $100,000 isn't life-changing money. It's not supposed to be life-changing. Nobody said, oh, you get hit by a bus, all of a sudden you're a celebrity now. Whatever. So I think when he said you'd be fully recovered, you could have still got if the jury would have sympathized with you like they did with this kid. Forget about it. They would have given you a couple of $1 million. Maybe not 30 years ago. Maybe they would give you 500,000, but they still would have gave you money.
Well, my attorney talked me out of it, and so I didn't. And then when I got injured at work and I tore my knee, and this is the one that really was life changing. I didn't think to go after DirecTV, and I definitely didn't go after the homeowner whose property I injured myself on.
What are you a homophobe? A homoonophobe? A homoonophobe?
I was, but and the weirdest thing is once I became a homeowner, the more stuff that I learned about being a homeowner, actually I was a homeowner at that time, wasn't I? Let me see.
You look like a typical homeowner.
Yes, I was a homeowner at that time. And if I was thinking like a regular homeowner, I would have, well, initially I was thinking like I wouldn't, it was a mistake. And then I had to like remove a tree stump. And because of what happened there, I knew, they had to keep the hole filled and it was going to keep divoting, and I kept it filled in and stuff like that. So nobody to this day, like 20 some years later, they're not going to hurt themselves in that yard because I did the tree stump the right way.
Yeah. Now with me, one last, and I'll get off the fucking ice thing.
Look, ice is good for your pain. You put some ice on. So this is what we'll do. We'll do ice on and then ice off. Ice on, ice off.
Heat and then cold and heat and cold. I know all about that. So I never.
Yeah. So we'll do the ice thing every once in a while. Yeah.
I can't. I mean, basically, if I go even try to sue them, they can just deny it. Like they didn't identify themselves. I don't know any names. They were I couldn't even if they were in a lineup. I don't think I could pick them out. The one guy maybe. The first guy who was face to face with me, but he had a mask on. I could probably get him from body type, haircut, all that kind of stuff. But I can't identify him. But they could just say, no, he's full of shit. To my knowledge, if there were any witnesses, it was just a girl on the counter in the deli behind the counter there. And if she saw it at all, she definitely heard me screaming. But I have no witnesses. What am I going to do? They're not going to. I would not win that lawsuit. They would, and then all it would do was like. It would just make me their enemy, and I don't want them fucking bad enough. I lose sleep at night thinking they're gonna come and you talked bad about the Fuhrer on your show yesterday. We're taking you away, that kind of thing. So I would not. The lawsuit would have been a bad idea, and my wife is still upset with me, and I just can't fucking do it, man. Let it go. Take the pain. And speak out for the people that it will continue to happen to, and maybe they won't be as lucky as me. They won't let them go home. So that was I felt fortunate that what was that? Well, I can tell you, I was screaming like a man who was delusional about his own prowess. I'll kick your head. I'll kill you. I'll piss in your dead skull. That kind of stuff. I'm sure they weren't buying it when they got me. But one guy's twisting my arm and got his knee on my shoulder, and the other guy's like stomping on my legs. I don't think they were buying the threats I was screaming at them, but yeah, I was screaming at all sorts of stuff. And then they started screaming at me in Spanish, like that was going to help. I don't know what the fuck you're telling me to do.
Well, first of all, at least they're learning that somebody needs to speak Spanish in the group. That is progress. Okay. But since they're also going after Haitians and everybody else that's brown, but if they're only teaching one person to speak Spanish, that means they really are going after just the Spanish. That's what they're focusing on, trying to get the Spanish, the brown people from this Latin speaking, Spanish speaking countries out of here. But
no doubt
like
about
I said,
it.
They don't scare me. If those little fucks want to fight, come and get me. My name is Ron Kane. I live in Pennsylvania. I will fuck you up 4 ways from Sunday.
You don't look like a Ron Kane either.
Oh yeah, I'm Ron Kane. I live in Pennsylvania. Come and get me, motherfucker. I will fuck you up 6 ways from Sunday.
You don't think they could hit the rewind button in here when I introduced?
They're not that bright. They're not that bright. They're stupid assholes. If they were smart and if they had a shred of anything, they would know that they're under, they're not thinking. Okay, they're not gonna fuck with me.
Well, I did make the mistake of, but again, he did not identify himself, and I'm thinking, but I did take a step away, go to step toward the car, and he's probably thinking I'm fleeing or something. I'm running away at that point, and that's why he started wrestling with me. But there's no excuse for just beating the shit out of a guy. You use your words.
Mm-hmm.
My ID is in the fucking car is what I should have said. Give me a second to get it. Now maybe
they're not gonna let you go near your car, because then they're gonna say no, he could have a weapon.
Well, no, the supervisor actually did. He walked me over to the car. He didn't let me go on my own.
Supervisor, the first guy isn't going to let you go near the car. He wants a fight. Those, they want something to tell their buddies.
I hope his wife and baby get cancer. I don't know that he has a baby. I hope his wife and baby get fucking cancer today and both fucking die right in front of him. That's what I hope. Is that petty? Yes, it is. But
I hope, and that's the case. I hope that happens, but that they don't die right away.
Right.
But the doctor says, who could have saved their life? There's a doctor that you just grabbed 2 weeks ago, and he's down. He was our specialist in this cancer. He specialized in this kind of cancer, and he could have saved their life. But you deported him. You grabbed him up, and he's still at the facility. So maybe if you can get him here, he could probably save their life. That would be justice to me.
Yeah. Well,
and then they die.
I'm home. I have a lot to be grateful for this Thanksgiving, is in that I'm not fucking being deported. I'm not in a concentration camp. Although I would have loved a free trip to Florida. I don't want to go to Alcatraz, whatever they call it.
And also, you selfish bastard, what about the show? Okay, you could be on like places like MSNBC. White guy gets beat up by ICE and then promoted to Matt Nappo from Mind Dog TV, Coffee with the Dog, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11:30, with his sidekick, the black guy who can't.
Ron Kane,
the black guy, the sidekick black guy who has the worst comedy special of all times.
Ron Kane doesn't have the worst comedy special of all time.
Wait a minute.
I said I would at least talk to a lawyer or a friend or someone. I have talked to a friend. I don't want to be talked into opening up a can of worms that could be fucking persecution. I don't underestimate the vindictiveness or pettiness of these people. If I even threaten a lawsuit, that they will show up at my house and finish the job that they started yesterday. They could make me disappear, and nobody would give a shit. I mean, you'd watch GD fucking try to ad lib every morning, but whatever. So I don't want to get talked into a lawsuit. I want my hip to feel better. My shoulder feels better this morning than it did for 12 hours or so, where I couldn't sleep and rolling over and my hip feels better. I'll just take it as a learning lesson. Don't stop. Don't go in any place. Go straight from my house to wherever the gig is, whether it's music or a painting gig or whatever. Just go from one door to the other. Don't stop in between. Always have my ID on me just in case. And that's the number one lesson for anybody out there listening. Do not step out of your vehicle. Do not step out of your front door of your house without having your ID on you.
Now, unfortunately, I have been living like that since I've been a black man, a black adult. I don't, and like even when my wife and I go for a walk, I'll say, wait, let me get my license. And she goes, yeah, she goes, but we're in our neighborhood. I said, it doesn't, and I have to say to her, it doesn't matter to me. I have been accosted by police more times than I care to, think about it. I've had guns drawn on me 11 times.
Well, nobody pulled a gun on me yesterday. That was a thing I was thinking on the way home too. Nobody tried to shoot me because they probably could have, right? I mean, I'm wrestling with a guy, and maybe he was winning, but they probably, if they were a little trigger happy, could have put a cap in my ass.
Well, they definitely would at least tased me, because again, I'm not going down without a fight, and part of it's just anger.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, wearing the mask, they don't identify themselves, so your instinct is, I'm getting my ass kicked. Of course, I'm going to fight back. If I know it's a cop, I might not fight back. I just let them cuff me or whatever and say, well, we'll work this out. We'll let the system work it out. I know as a minority, that's probably not an idea that you would have, thinking the system is going to work for you. But I probably would not have resisted at all, or even tried to fight back, if I would have known for a fact that this guy showed me a badge, had a face. I think I'm getting fucking robbed or beat up for no reason at all. Of course I'm going to fucking fight back.
And this is the other thing I learned the hard way as a black man. It did not matter if I resisted or if I went along peacefully, I got the same treatment. The only way I didn't get, the only way, I'm trying to think of a couple of times on that, like once I was still in my car and they pulled me over for driving through the wrong neighborhood, and they wanted to know what I was doing in that neighborhood. And so I was being so polite that it was like, it was so polite that he would be beating me he got angry because of how polite I was.
Oh.
He kept saying, will you stop calling me sir? I said, well, sir, well, no, officer. I kept calling. I said, well, officer, says, stop calling me officer, is what he kept saying to me. And so I kept calling him officer because he kept saying, stop calling me officer. I said, well, officer. And he goes like, stop calling me officer. I said, well, if you don't mind me finishing my sentence, I can finish my sentence, officer. Well, officer, this is what happened.
I would kick your ass too. I want to kick your ass right now.
So, and at some point he says, I can run you in right now. And I say, and what? Arrest me for being polite and cooperating? And then he's like,
you were asking for a beating.
But I was still in my car. My engine was still running. I hadn't shut off my engine yet. So he was going to have to, again, I was still in my 20s. So I was, like I said, if he wanted, in my 20s, if somebody wanted to fight, like I said, I'd taken, let's just say that if it weren't for my restraint that my stepfather taught me, because before my stepfather got a hold of me, I was just an angry young black kid, and I was fighting everything. I mean, in a heartbeat, my fists were up always, and it didn't even matter if I could win or lose the battle. I was fighting, and my stepfather was the one who calmed me down and said, if you can walk away, walk away, but if you can't walk away, you make sure they wish they did. So all right. That's it.
Let's move along here now.
Yeah.
Democrats are angry at the Democrats for being Democrats. What happened? Is the government reopening today? And
First of all, even in my understanding, because I didn't check, I believe they passed a resolution, a bill. The Senate did. The House won't even be in session for 2 days because they have like a 2-day response time or something, or so, they'll, they're because they're on recess or something. They've taken another recess, so to speak. But so
haven't they had enough vacation days? I don't know. I'm sorry.
So they had at least 2 hours, 48. Now they said last night on the news they kept saying 48 hours. Now I don't know if it's 48 hours of like in session or 48 hours like it started now. You have 48 hours, or if they mean like 2 days, like 2 business days, like you have Monday and Tuesday. I don't know what they meant by 48 hours. I don't know how literal that translation is, but assuming it's literal and it's 48 hours. I don't know when Cornine was the senator from Texas. I don't know when I don't know what time it was when he cast his vote. So let's say he cast his vote at midnight. That would give them like 48 hours from that midnight. I don't know for certain. I don't know exactly how that works, but they have at least 2 days before.
I think you know that I'm not a Democratic Party apologist and not part of the party, but
Right.
I'm struggling to understand what the Democratic voters wanted them to do. They wanted them to just keep the government closed forever and without subsidies for health care, and with Trump playing games about not feeding the hungry people. They just wanted that to go on forever. Like, did they think there was going to be a win, like the Republicans were going to cave? I just don't understand the anger of Democratic voters that I'm seeing this morning. They're all like,
well, and I think you understand this. The people that are the loudest are the ones more on the extremes. So obviously, every Democrat doesn't feel that way. But it's the loudest people, the ones that are angry. They're the ones that are making the noise. So they're the ones that are getting paid attention to. I'm sure there are Democrats out there who get okay. At least the people who receive food assistance, they won't be hungry, and we're getting a chance. We're getting a vote, for the ACA, and that will put Republicans on record because they don't want the ACA extended. Most of them don't. So it gets them on record, and that's supposed to happen maybe I think in December. Wow. So, and I think the 8 Democrats that went along, I was looking at them, and I think I recognized 4 of them as being former governors. No, 3. Well, I'm sorry, I only saw 5 of the 8, and I think 3 of those 5 were former governors. I know Tim guy.
Oh no,
used to be a governor. Tim Kaine used to be a governor, right? And now I think Angus. Now I don't know if he was a governor or Maine. I know he was a senator. I know he is a senator. I don't know if Kaine was a governor of Maine. I didn't look that up because I knew about Kaine for some time, but I'm trying to. I don't remember if he. But it seems like the people that used to be governors are more willing to negotiate because that's what they have to do anyway. Governors have like Democrats and Republicans and Green Party and Libertarians in their assemblies, and so they have to negotiate. So it's possible that's part of the mindset.
I mean, been totally at. You know what occurred to me just this morning when I woke up is like, it's so weird that if I would have been injured in my youth, and the next day I woke up, you'd be still have a good I don't know, understanding of where we were politically, what was going on in the world. The whole, it's not like you could miss out on big time changes within the country, within the world, in 8 hours, 16 hours, even less than 24 hours. Somehow, big news stories weren't necessarily okay. Now we live in a constant news cycle with this big news. It's just impossible to keep up with. You get hurt and just want to sleep, or just in better case, roll over and moan. In my case, oh, that's what I did all night. and then find out, everything's changed. The shutdown is over. And I don't even know if that's true. It's hard to make up with it.
Yeah, the shutdown is far from over. And when I say far from over, it's at least 2 days of being over. And here's the other thing and this is what people are failing to realize. James Michael Johnson is afraid to bring the House back in session, because once he does that, he has to swear in the representative from Arizona, and she's the 218th vote to get the Epstein shit.
I don't know why he's afraid of that, because
because Trump is telling him to be. It's not like it's going to hurt him personally.
Even Trump should know. It's very clear that what Trump said in 2015, even before 2016, when he first announced that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote. They know he's a pedophile. They know he's in there. They don't fucking care. That's fine with them. Even like Megyn Kelly, who he basically said she got period blood shooting out her eyes. She said the other day she doesn't care that he got a little handsy. A little handsy. He got fingery up the, and he even grabbed him by the pussy, and then he did that to Eugene Carroll. That doesn't bother her, that he's a rapist. She said, I think, what'd she say? I want somebody who will close the border and keep boys out of my daughter's locker room.
It may not bother her. It may bother her sponsors.
But it doesn't bother the MAGA voters. It doesn't.
No.
They know he's a pedophile. They don't care. They simply don't care. And so you could release the Epstein files, and they keep the Democratic pundits keep coming up. Oh, it's darker than you know. They hacked his emails, and it exposes even more. We know he fucking had a 13-year-old girl. He beat her up, ripped her panties off, told her shut the fuck up while he fucking raped her. A 13-year-old girl. We know that. And they still don't fucking care. They don't fucking care that this guy, and I want to keep boys out of my daughter's locker room. You know, he was in your daughter's locker room, well, maybe not your daughter, but a daughter's locker room with plenty of 13 to 15-year-old girls, and bragging about how he had the privilege of perving on them. You know that. So you're keeping boys out of your daughter's locker room who aren't going to follow up on it when you have King Pervert there, you've elected president, who will fucking rape them, rip their panties off, and tell them to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry.
Well, Matt, I'm really sorry that first of all, where did these ICE people touch you? Where did they harm you? Because
all over.
They've really changed you, because last week you would have been really saying what you felt about Trump, and you're holding back today. And you're not the same man. You're holding back. You should tell us what you really think about Trump and him being a pedophile. Well, don't be afraid. I got your back. If I have to drive up there, of course, they could do a lot of damage in the 6 hours it would take for me to come up there and get your back. Yeah. I don't know.
To be clear, I voted for Trump. I love Trump. He's my favorite president. He's best of all time.
He's your favorite pedophile.
Yeah, I'm more angry at the voters who act like sanctimonious, like it matters or something to them. And then the fact is, they know we don't have to release the Epstein files for them to know exactly who and what he is, and they simply just don't care. So stop bullshitting me about fucking morals and all that stuff. You don't care. You just want to be on the side. It's more important to own the libs than to kind of hold a rapist, not a rapist, a partner in the biggest child rape scheme in the history of child rape. You don't want to hold him accountable. Fuck you. I'm sorry. So anyway, I feel like I've expressed myself there. Russ, with the both sides of garbage. Yeah, listen, this is not a both sides issue. You can say, and both sides of garbage. We can say we know Bill Clinton's in there, right? We know Bill Clinton's in there. Democrats want Bill Clinton held accountable for that. That's where I am on this. You know, you can say both sides. One side wants even their own to be held accountable. The Democrats threw Al Franken out for going like this in front of a foot away from a closed breast, a clothed breast, clothed. They threw him at a Congress, at a Senate for this. There is a difference. So both sidesism is not at play here right now. We have somebody we know raped children, and they don't want them held accountable. They want to cover that up, as if there is some covering it up. It's not a both sides issue there. Kevin Benson, Trump is a poor excuse. Don't blame him for U.S. lack of morals. I don't necessarily blame him for it. I think he's a symptom. He gave people license to be who as ugly as they want to be. It's hard to say. He didn't make people ugly. Those people were ugly to begin with.
Absolutely.
And he told them it was okay. Man, it's been a hell of a 24 hours.
Yeah.
We got a treasure hunter coming on in a few minutes, and I think I've already expressed my angst with him. He's got several books out on this thing, right? He's a former Air Force. Four. Well, one's coming out next month, or 2 months from now. But if he's a former Air Force colonel, 35 years in the Air Force, comes out and he starts hunting treasure, and he thinks he's got a proven method of discovering hidden treasure. If you got that, just keep it between you and me. Don't put it, because I'm thinking if I go out and buy this book, by the time I finish reading the book, it's going to be every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Juan. Also, Juan and Carlos will be out there because whatever. They're going to be out there beating me to it, right? So I'm not going to get any. That's my problem.
This is kind. I don't know. This is kind of reminiscent of, and some younger people may not remember this, but when I was in my maybe 20s, there was this, or maybe 30s. They went to a period when it was like maybe you see like one person once a month on a beach with a magnetometer or whatever it is, the little metal detectors, and then it went to like every other person on the beach had a metal detector. You know, there was like you could not. It's like they were flying off the shelves, and everybody, not only did everybody have a metal detector, now you had to have a metal detector better than the guy next to you, his metal detector, so you could detect the metal that he's going to detect before he detects that metal. So you just couldn't go with your basic metal detector anymore. Now you had to have depth and breadth and sonar and all the other R's.
Yeah. Russ White said they had 4 years to go after Epstein and Biden, and they prosecuted his partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell. They put her in jail. They were going through the process of all that stuff. It's not like they were ignoring it during those 4 years. They went after the living co-conspirator, jailed her up. They had that trial. They were going further on that. And then they lost the election or whatever happened in the election. And then they took over. That fucking Fox talking point. They had 4 years. They used those 4 years. They had lots going on in those 4 years. They also had an insurrection to deal with. They had stolen classified documents. They had Biden surrendering his own stolen documents, mishandled documents, all that kind of stuff. The DOJ had their hands full in those 4 years. They were prosecuting people who broke into the Capitol to stop a certification of an election. They had a lot going on, and they still prosecuted the Epstein case. So they had 4 years. You want to say they didn't go after Trump during that for that? Yeah, they didn't, because they had fucking what's his name, Merrick Garland, just fucking dragging his feet on 19 other prosecutions of Trump. So yeah, but they definitely did go after the Epstein stuff, and they put Ghislaine in prison, and now Trump's gonna pardon her eventually. That's the weirdest thing is a part of five. What is this? The weird thing is that we are part of Five Eyes, but all U.S. Presidents are scared to come down here. Cheers from New Zealand. Oh,
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Are they scared to come down there? Why? Why would they be scared to go to New Zealand? Is there some reason? I don't. Now I'm really confused. Anyway,
And
we'll talk
yeah,
treasure hunting.
yeah,
Maybe I should save my comments about treasure hunting till he gets here. But I'm interested in if I were in shape, if I were flexible today, I would be getting a shovel and his book and like, where's the money? I've always been interested in that stuff. The question I would have, and I'll ask him this, is how much is really out there? I mean, here and there, but not like everybody was going, oh, I got money, I'm going to bury it somewhere. I'm gonna hide it somewhere, unless it was illegally gained. Why would you? I mean, it
yeah.
wasn't like,
Well, my question is because they just say one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I would want to know if he had one treasure to find, I mean, if he could, would he rather find, like I said, Noah's Ark, which would be a treasure, find the actual Noah's Ark if there were one? Or would he rather find, let's say, $2 million in gold doubloons? Which would be the more valuable treasure in his mind? Finding, the Noah's Ark or having the gold doubloons?
you I want to find diamonds. So, a booty full of
Mm.
diamonds.
Well, I'd
See,
want to find gold
see,
doubloons in Noah's Ark. No,
I think I think in my mind it's like, because if you buried cash, it would rot away, right? It's got to be
it depends
gold
because
or
yeah,
diamond.
back then the cash was gold. Or okay, hear me out.
I'm hearing
Depending
you
on
out.
how far back you go, this was currency.
I don't even see what it is.
Salt.
Oh, salt. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what he's talking about in the books.
Well, I'm just saying this is treasure. This is salt.
Maybe once upon a time, but not now.
All right. When
All
I
right.
catch in my salt coins
All right.
and
Before CV Pratt gets here, I heard the Rev mention yesterday. Before I was still in good shape yesterday morning. I heard him mention meeting Jim Florentine.
yeah, we
Any
did. We met Jim Florentine.
any chance he's going to be on the? I would love to talk
He
to
said
him.
he would. He said he would. We exchanged contact information. I reached out to him yesterday because I wanted to give him a little time. I didn't want to because I just saw him Saturday night. So
Do you know? Are you familiar with? Have
no,
you heard about? I'm going to keep just kind of prefacing the question and never ask the question. Has it ever occurred to you that about, I guess it's about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now, Jim Florentine was part of a group of people, comedians, who were scheduled to play. I'm not sure if it was Seattle or Portland, a big comedy club there, and they all got canceled at once, and they were all considered right-wing comedians, and they were saying it's cancel culture, and the club was saying that it was because of due to poor ticket sales, like nobody was coming out. Now, part of that, they were claiming that it was a boycott, and it doesn't matter from the club's. My position was, it doesn't matter from the club's perspective if it's people on the left boycotting right-wing comedians or what. They're not selling tickets. How can I be expected to pay you what we contracted for if I can't sell a single ticket? Nobody's coming. So I was kind of seeing the comedy club side of it. Even leftist comedians who I know were arguing with me that's because they hate the clubs. Everybody hates comedy clubs because they fucking rip off comedians. But my thing was, if that happened to me, I would not take to Twitter and Facebook to resolve this, which was what they were all doing at Kurt Metzger and a bunch of, I think, Louis J. Gomez and all these people who were doing it were taking to Twitter and Facebook. I would call the club and say, what happened? Can we work this out? What can we do to help sell the tickets? Let's keep the date. I'll work harder to promote it, something like that. And Jim Florentine was the first one to do that, and he kind of put that out on Twitter and said, I called them and we resolved it. My date is back on. I was like, see, that's how it's fucking done. And so I would love to talk to him about that. He's probably tired of talking about that. But I think it's an important thing for people in the arts to kind of, when something doesn't go your way, the proper response is not to make it the public's problem. Handle it on your own. Make a few phone calls. Talk behind the closed doors with the people you're having the beef with. If it continues to be a problem, then maybe go to social media after that. But I mean, the first response is always, I'm going to call cancel culture out and demonize the club. Yeah, I'm thinking about, and again, all the leftist comedians were defending the right-wing comedians, which was odd for me. But they're doing it because they hate the clubs, because the clubs have raped talent for so long that they're inclined to say. But from the club's perspective, you're a business owner. Nobody's coming to your business. It's unfair to make you pay like top dollar for, let's say you're paying somebody $1,500 for the night, a headliner, $1,500 for the night, and the place is empty and you're not even making that $1,500 back. That's not fair. I don't know.
You know, you just reminded me of something that I was upset about on Saturday night, and I was upset about it yesterday, and then I forgot I was upset about it. After the show, myself, Jim Florentine, and a few of the younger comics. Now, I'm not in Florentine's thing. I'm not nothing like that. It's just I've been doing comedy for 11 years, so I do have some wisdom, even if I don't have the success to go with it. He and I were actually being held as equals by the younger comedians who wanted to pump us for wisdom, and we would both look to each other to answer the questions. It was so weird to have someone like that look at me as an equal or as a peer. It was just a weird experience, but that's not what angered me. What angered me was later on, I was talking to a younger comedian who last time I talked to him was talking about some of his material, and he goes, yeah, and I said, this is really good, really funny. He goes, yeah, he says, I want to keep it dry because I want to do a 30-minute special. And I said, great, fantastic. And the last time I talked to him, that's what he was talking about, doing his 30-minute special. On Saturday night, I was talking to him, and he's like, now he's a shell of the person he was back then. He's like, he's high. He's like, he's lost his confidence. And I asked him about the special, and he goes, no, what? No, I can't do a special. No, I can't. No, I can't. He goes, he says, I'm waiting for, I think he said Netflix to offer me like $100,000. Yeah. And he didn't get to finish if it was like 100,000 rupees, 100, I didn't even let him finish either. I'm waiting for Netflix to offer me 100,000. I said, are you fucking crazy? I said, they're not going to, I said, what, waiting? He goes, I don't see the point in doing a special and nobody knows who I am. I said, it's not about doing it because, I said, he kept putting everything in terms of being famous and wanting to be famous. And I said, then you're doing this for the wrong reason. I said, if you're doing comedy because you want to be famous, you're in the wrong business. And there's another black guy over there, a guy named Ack. He's been doing comedy a little bit longer than me. He goes, yeah, you can't do it because you want to be famous, because you got to do it because you love what you're doing. And then another guy over there says, yeah, but the money. I said, what the fuck is wrong with you people? I said, you can't do comedy because you want to be famous.
Or the money. Listen, right. You got to be.
you got to do it because you have to. You have to you have something inside of you you want to get out. You have a creative force inside of you that needs to get out, or you have the need that you want to make people. Even if your need is to hear laughter, that's still the wrong reason to do comedy, as far as I'm concerned. Because you need the approval. That's the wrong reason, also.
If you want money, give blowjobs behind Home Depot. That's
what
you're gonna make more than you do in comedy. I mean, seriously. I think because I'm seeing more and more comedians who have been doing it for so fucking long. I'm talking 10, 15 years without really ever paying for their gas to get to from one place to another. I mean, if they're making $20, $50, something, that's a lot for comedians. It takes a while before you get that, and then all of a sudden you go from getting paid $20 in a hamburger to $1,500 for the night. But that doesn't come until you've really paid your dues of being taken advantage of for a long
And
time.
that's why when I started, like I said, I started at 55, well, 54 in 10 months, 54 years and 10 months, 55. I really have trouble. I don't want to lie and say I was 55. I was 54 and 10. But the thing is, I knew the one thing I didn't know about comedy was I thought it would take like 20 years before anybody would notice me. And I knew that in 20 years, I'd be like 74, 75 years old. And that's a hell of a time to get for people to start noticing my comedy when I'm on a mental decline. So that's why I recorded the stuff I did, just so that I could be noticed, remembered that I at least tried,
Yeah. I want to address something that Russ White said here back a little bit here in the comment. He said, my politics would affect who I wouldn't work for. In this case, I'm not sure that I think it was Portland, it might have been Seattle. That comedy club didn't say it was about their politics. They've never come out, and the club doesn't get involved itself in political discussions. You don't know what their politics were. Their decision was based on the fact that their customers weren't buying tickets for these comedians. They weren't selling any tickets. So it's not like when you made the deal, because people will go do that tour that, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, all that. They book stuff there. The clubs aren't political in nature. This is the comedy fans who decided, I don't want to go see Kurt Metzger. I've seen enough of him on podcasts and stuff. And the club has no dog in that fight. They're just trying to sell comedy and trying to sell booze and food. That's their so I don't know how you would make that decision. Well, this comedy club, their politics, I won't work for them. How do you make that? Because they don't have any politics. They don't discuss what their biases or what their motivations in politics are. They just want good comedy. They want to sell tickets. They want to sell food. They want to sell drink. That's it. So I mean, I understand the idea of not work. I would not work for somebody who was a fucking Nazi. I wouldn't. But this club doesn't put out, we are Republican, we are Democrat, we are conservative, we are liberal. They don't say that. They say, we got the best comedy in town. Come see us, and tickets are available now. That's what they do.
I just want to answer one thing. It's 97,728 hours. Definitely 97,728 hours.
All right. All right. I think you can put down that many hours at Kmart and get paid minimum wage, and you'd be rich. Slaptail, good morning. I want to tell you that I have worked on your Jackie video. I made it more clear and more I enlarged it so that when the interview thing is going on, it's not like two guys 200 feet away. It's like two guys 10 feet away. But the file is too big that it outweighs all my Google Cloud Drive. I'm not sure how to get it to you. I think it's 43 gigs at the moment. I'm trying to see if I can compress it down so that I could get it to you. But I know I've improved it so that it's far more watchable. I've improved the audio, balanced it out so yours and his are equal.
There is a thing called wet transfer.
WeTransfer, but it won't take something 40 gigs.
Oh.
I think even with I used to have the paid version of WeTransfer. I think it was 2 gigs per file. So I'd have to break it up into chunks, like 20 different fucking videos.
Put it on a file card, SD card, and mail it to them. Just don't tape it to the.
I think I might have to do that.
I mean, you got the painting anyway, right? You got to send them the painting, or did you send the painting?
I didn't send the painting. The painting's still being cured. The varnish is
What?
drying
What
on.
kind of disease did you give it? You little nasty bastard. What kind of disease?
The varnish is drying on the paint, the coating, so that it is permanent. Because I don't know if you know this about acrylic, but acrylics is not considered a permanent medium like oil. You have to. Some oils you could just like here it is, and it won't ever get damaged or lose its luster. But with acrylics, you got to finish them, because if you don't finish them, put a varnish on it, it will over time just pieces will chip off.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I forgot about that about acrylics.
So I'm doing the best I can to make it shine and come out. It's a pain in the ass doing the finishing of acrylics, but I'm doing that. So probably another 10 days before I mail that off to him, and I might end up having to mail the Jackie video on a fucking SD card or something like that.
Yeah, just tape it to the front of the painting.
Kevin says the sad thing is I've been to USA to see sports, music, comedy, wrestling many more times. It's 13K journey. Wow, 13,000 miles. Wow. And worth every second.
So why is that sad?
Yeah. Because the 13,000 miles. It's like
or maybe it's sad. Maybe he's going back to where he's saying the pressies don't want to come down here. I don't know what he mean by pressies. I don't know if it's pressies or pussies or prissies.
What was Dick's name? Remember Dick? We had Dick on from New Zealand. Dick
York.
I don't remember Dick's last name. Remember, you loved Dick. You said you wanted more.
I did like Dick. Yeah, I can't remember his name though. His last name.
CV Pratt is. I hope he doesn't not show. Do I have to go check my email and find it? I talked to his publicist last night. Damn. Really wanted to talk about treasure hunting. I thought he wasn't going to show, I would have stayed laying in bed moaning and groaning in pain, and wouldn't have had this bitching and moaning session online today. Do I write to her and say, where the fuck is it? This is the second time in a week she's had somebody. I'm not going to call him a no-show yet, but it's feeling like it's a no-show, right? Feeling that way?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of no shows, tomorrow I don't have a guest for you, and I can't be here because I have to go do a VA thing for Veterans Day. So
yeah, I remembered last night, and I said maybe I should have looked into getting a guest for today. For tomorrow.
Should we just cancel it and just have a day off? I mean, we're allowed. I don't know if you know we're allowed.
It's weird because I'd be home by myself all day.
All right. Well, you're welcome to do a show. I mean, I'll still try to get you a guest today, but as of the moment, I don't have one, and so I don't know what you.
I'm trying to think if I know somebody who would have tomorrow off that I could get on that I ordinarily wouldn't be able to get them on because they wouldn't have tomorrow off. No, in other words, because it's a weekday. But because tomorrow's a holiday, that they might be off.
Yeah.
Let me.
I don't know. You would think we'd be able to get somebody because there's a day off. Like Stephen Ortiz might be a guest, right? Not that he's a great guest, but
he's a terrible guest, awful.
Yeah, but at least you'd have somebody to talk to, so you don't have to just kind of talk to your camera or whatever.
Right. I mean, and part of me just now said, well, I could do a blind mic thing. I could pull up one of the shows that he hasn't made fun of and play it and stop it and go, here, right here.
That's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, I don't get this joke. It looks like he's trying to be funny about I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but like that first joke didn't land at all. I don't know.
All right, I'm hearing that he's trying to log on. It should be here momentarily. That's what I'm hearing in my head. Oh, the director's in my ear saying, "What? Yes. Oh. Don't be chasing AI waterfalls. Don't go. Don't go. Oh yeah, don't go. Sitting outside the store, an old lady stalking me while I sit in their car. What? What? Good morning. Don't go chasing AI waterfalls. Do we know this person? Are they new here? Well, welcome if you're new here.
Yeah.
Um, so I never heard of what was it? Thousand Hands Go Up, John Anderson.
Yeah.
Is that later? Yeah, I don't.
Now here's the weirdest thing. Apparently he wrote it like many years ago, but it's because it was like a solo thing. He didn't release it until recently. But
wait, just released it recently, like in the last.
Well, when I say recently, I mean like if I understand it correctly, he wrote it like 10, 15 years ago, but he released it like 2019 or something.
Wow.
The album was also called 1,000 Hands Come Up.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where I'll be honest with you. Yesterday on church, I was not even heard at that point. I was I couldn't follow along. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, I kind of regretted it. It's weird. I when I suggested that one to the Reverend, the Reverend's like, I'll talk about anything, blah 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 blah. Sure, whatever. And so I started doing the research because the Reverend and I both used to love Yes. Okay, but even then, even back when we loved Yes, we both knew that they had some pretentious lyric shit going on. It's like just shit that it was like only them and whoever their drug dealer knew for sure what they were talking about.
Well, I would yours is no disgrace. I thought lyrically that, and there was stuff in Roundabout even that the lyrics there really resonated with me, and so I mean, there was stuff from Yes that was lyrically more commercial, had more mass appeal than that one did by far. Yeah. So
yeah, because like I said, but they have these lyrics. Once in a while, there's like, what the fuck are they saying? It's like they just love the sound of that word or those syllables together. Otherwise, because I can't make heads or tails of it, and I get it because I've done that. I mean, I've done stupid lyrics on purpose because of the way it sound. I think I wrote a love poem, and I rhymed soulful ballad with bowl full of salad. Just because I could.
That's pretty disgusting, I have to say.
And I would there were things I was like, can I rhyme that? And I would go like, shit, I did. I rhymed it. Can I make it make sense? But that was for me. It wasn't just about having the sounds. I had to make it make sense.
He says he's in the studio now. Fuck.
Did he do what I did? Did he do what I did the other day last week?
Did. Well, no, this is probably my fault for
you sent him the wrong room.
Yeah, sending him wrong. It's possible. Because I did it in pain last night. Let me see if I can really quickly resolve this.
Okay.
All right. Talk to the crowd for a minute.
All right. Hey, crowd.
Talk to Ian and find out if he's like behind us or something. Because that twist and shout comment that had me.
Yeah, Ian. Okay. I don't know what I'm supposed to find out if you. Because if you are behind it, and I ask you right now about twist and shout,
that's true. He would never.
You're not going to know.
All right.
I said, okay. All the music lately is copyright infringement. They stalk people, then write music about them.
Huh.
Is he dating? Wait a minute. That sounds like Travis Kelce. I think he's dating. What's that girl? That woman? The one with the long legs and
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Does she have long legs? No.
In theory, her legs are proportionally longer than the average woman.
I thought she had like chunky, big, fat, not fat, muscular thighs, like a fullback, like Earl Campbell.
No.
Remember Earl Campbell? You remember Earl Campbell?
Yeah, he was a dancer for the Lakers.
No, he's a soup maker, Campbell Soup.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's definitely my fault. I was in agony when I sent the link last night, and I probably sent the link to Wednesday's show to him, and he's probably sitting in the wrong room. I could maybe go over there and just tell him that, right?
Sure.
I feel terrible. I really do about that. And not
Yeah.
that
Okay.
I'm going to be taking pills later on today. I can't wait to go back to bed today. Tomorrow is going to be weird because I have a VA thing. I think we mentioned last week. Somebody we were talking about doing psych ward shows. I have a VA thing. Psych ward is part of it, but it's walk around, and I'm going to be walking around with a bad hip, like it's strolling, unplugged strolling, room to room stuff. And I'm just going to be, and it's going to be like, I don't know if you remember, there was a Seinfeld episode where he was Leaping Larry was hiring him for a commercial, and he hurt his hip. Leaping Larry had a gimp or whatever from like a war injury, and then Seinfeld was doing it. He thought he was making fun of him. This is what I'm worried about tomorrow, going through the VA and like gimping around this place. People thinking I'm making fun of him, like exaggerating a gimp.
Or they think that you got hurt in the war also. You're like, so I did this. I got in this wheelchair because of the action I saw in Normandy. How'd you get hurt?
Yeah.
I got mistaken for a Hispanic guy.
Don't go chasing waterfowl. I made a movie about it. This is talking about copyright infringement, I think. About I got to patent it before these carbon copying spirits try to take ideas. I don't know what that means. Patent, copyright, patent. Patent is not, and the copyright's are different things, right?
Yeah, patent, copyright, and trademark are all different.
What is Ian saying about the soup du jour is lobster bisque? What the?
I don't know.
He's got me. He likes confusing me because he's evil. All right. All right. Yes. My bad. I sent Dr. C.V. Pratt to the wrong room because I have a good excuse. Well, do I have a good excuse? I was mortally wounded, and I'm still almost dead. I'm almost dead now. Let me introduce you to Dr. C.V. Pratt. He's a retired U.S. Air Force colonel. The only other Air Force colonel I ever heard of was Dr. Bellows. You know Dr. Bellows?
Oh yeah.
He turned real life. He turned his life from Air Force colonel to real life treasure hunter and author of 3-volume series. About to have a 4th book come out in January. If I Were You, a treasure hunter's guide to America's lost and hidden treasures. He's here now, and let's welcome in Dr. C.V. Pratt. Welcome, Dr. C.V. Pratt.
Hey, thanks so much, guys, for hosting me on the show today. It's a great experience, and really looking forward to the interview. So.
Have you say that now?
Yeah, wait 10 minutes. You'll be like, why the fuck?
Yeah, why did I do this?
Have you caught a lot of flack in your life for resembling Louis C.K. a little bit?
No, actually, are we talking about WC?
No, Louis C.K. is a comedian who he went through some bad behavior and got canceled for bad behavior.
No, nothing like that. I've been silent and in the Air Force for 35 years up until 2023. So just my job, deploying a lot, and now I'm at this point in my life. So yeah, that's what I'm at.
All right,
I have a question for you right off the bat. Now I'm sure you know the expression, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So when you say treasure hunter, if you have to, let's put it this way. Would you rather find if there is one, the actual Noah's Ark, or would it bring you more pleasure to find, let's say, $1 million in gold doubloons?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because I just think the Ark, story and legend and the biblical term of it appears in so many different cultures. So actually finding it would be a significant find for sure. But not sure it'd put a lot in my bank account.
And that's why I picked that. That's why I picked something that would be historically significant if it existed, versus, and then the only thing you'd have would be like, I found it.
Yeah.
What? No money?
You're right though. One man's trash, another one's treasure. I started this book series really out of a question from a book from W.C. Jameson. He's like my hero. He's America's treasure hunter, the Indiana Jones, and so I was just really attracted to his work. And I got a master's degree in U.S. military history, and so I'm all about history. I love history. Part of my life. It's part of what I do. I still teach at the graduate level, and so I try to integrate history into my courses because we can learn so much from it. And so looking at one of his books that my daughter gave me upon retirement from the military, I found several stories in his book. They're very short stories, maybe 800 words, maybe 1,000 words, and they just tell this unique story, but they just don't go any further, right? They kind of tell you, well, maybe it's in these mountains, and then no one's ever found it. And it kind of intrigued me. And so when I was retiring, I'm like, hey, I want to go on one of these treasure hunts. I want to dive deep into this and really discover something. And so, using my senior officer Air Force, 90% rule mentality, I dug really deep on one of these stories. Several of them.
Wait, before you go any further, what is the 90% rule? What is that?
So that's the fourth book coming out the end of December. I decided, hey, listen, I talk about the 90% rule a lot in these books. And I said, you know what? I need to generate a book talking about nothing about the 90% rule. And the book is called Decoding America's Lost and Hidden Treasure, the 90% Rule, a methodology for preparing, planning, and recovery. Okay, so the 90% rule is the who, what, where, when, and why about every facet of a story. And so, if you read some sort of myth or legend, there may be some nuggets of truth in there that need to be deeply explored, not just read about, but I mean really deeply explored. And so the 90% rule is doing 90% of the research before you go out and do 10% of the actual looking, because people have spent years and tons of money, investors' money, their own money, in searching, but never really did the hardcore research to actually find target zones that were very, centered and very defined. And so my methodology really goes deep into the story. I pull in lots of information, some of it really old, maps really old, bring them in, do the research, do the who, what, where, when, and why, and then focus on target points that I believe will yield results. So I'm doing the 90% of the work. All you got to do is, read some of these chapters of my book, and it may influence you and help you get off the couch and do the 10% and maybe go find something. So,
all right. Now you're taking away a little bit of the anger point I had with, not anger, but my thing was, if you got this method for finding treasure, why are you spilling your guts and blabbermouthing to everybody? You should just call me and just keep it between you and me, so I could go out there. I don't want to go out there and see, oh, everybody else has a shovel and a book in their hand and like digging. I want that treasure for me because I need a few bucks. And so I was a little upset with you, but now I'm not, because I know everybody's going to be sitting on their couch thinking, I got to research this a little more before I actually get a shovel and go out there.
Now, because the title of this book, If I Were You, okay, I don't even have to read the rest of it. If I Were You, A Treasure Hunter's Guide to America's Lost and Hidden Treasure. We have, 50 states? Oh, okay, I'm just going to, 50 states. So does each state has its own, treasure that's known that's, in other words, if I live in Maryland, I live in Maryland, I can look for the great treasure of St. Mary. When she came over, she had a bucket of gold that got lost or something.
A bucket of chicken.
Right, but if I lived in Idaho, I'd go like, oh yeah, well there was the great lost treasure of the Idaho mashed potato god or something, whatever, the golden potato. I'm just making this up because I don't know anything.
No, you're kidding. You're making that up?
Yeah, I am making this up.
Okay.
I'm making it up to make a point. It's like, does each state have like its own treasures that people from that state can locally look for, or do I have to go to Maine to look for my treasure while I live in Maryland?
No, I think there's enough information out there to find a treasure in every state. You know, my 3 volumes cover many states, really within venues. I think volume 2 focuses on the Trail of Tears and the Civil War area. Well, the Civil War, a lot of the Confederate gold that was hidden, you know, is obviously in the South, right? Anywhere from South Carolina, North Carolina, all the way down into Texas. And there are treasure hunts all throughout there. Some in the West Coast, having to do with the Mexican-American War coming up. And there's a story about a lost Spanish galleon in the California desert, right outside of right outside of El Centro. And I think that's chapter 6 or something in my first book, but that really captivated me. There's treasure everywhere. It's just lost. It's hidden and lost to history. And I think with the technology we have now, LiDAR technology, muography technology, side scan sonar technology, we have tools available to us that they didn't have 10, 15, 50 years ago. So we have such an advantage now. And I believe if you've seen any of my chapters, I really take a story, expand it, talk about the characters, the environment, the date, the age, where was America at the time, and then I just get into whether this story can be believed. I do the analysis of could the treasure still exist, and then from there. I'll actually give you coordinates. And to your question, Mind Dog, why would I give away the farm here? Well, I look at it as what Forrest Fenn did. Forrest Fenn put out his memoirs, and then Forrest Fenn put a poem to the memoirs and hid $1 million in golden coins in a chest. And it turned out it was right where, he used to go fishing as a kid. But you had to decode all of that in his books and everything. But it got 300,000 people in the hunt for one guy's story.
See, that's the thing. It's not like a lottery ticket. If 300, we all get an equal share if we find.
That's true.
I just want a few. I don't want the $1 million. I'll take $10,000 and be happy with that. I mean, I'll take $1 and be happy with it.
I figured. See, okay, Dr. Pratt, you have just given me such. You just inspired me because I have been marketing my comedy the wrong way. I should be telling people that in my comedy there are hidden gems. If you look,
true. It's just they're very deep.
Right, you have to dig deep. You have to dig deep into my comedy to find the hidden gems.
Also, I would like to say that you have to be over 65 years old to get any of his jokes. So,
well, I understand you then.
So, here on Long Island, I'm in Long Island, New York. Not too far from me, there's a place called Pirates Cove, and there's a lot of rumors and stuff because we did have, I don't know, when you say pirates, it's not like Somali pirates that are just going up and just raiding any cruise ships or any of that kind of stuff. They were pirates. Working outside of the British government at that time. But they're saying that Port Jefferson in this Pirates Cove area is a place that's rich with folklore about stuff. Captain Kidd buried treasure there. That's just lore, though, right? I mean, when you talk about doing your research, if I go do a deep dive on this stuff, I'm going to find that it's just nonsense. People just making up stories, right?
Listen, I think every story and myth, Mind Dog, has some sort of nugget of truth, right? But the problem is these have been handed down by the human telephone for the last 150, 200 years. And so, and in the case of the Revolutionary War, even longer. And so we have to really sift through all of the human elements in the telling of the story and find the nuggets that align up, to the period, to the time. What ship was he on? Where did he frequent? And, that's going to be much harder. But I will tell you a story that's very similar to that. And that's, it's in, I think, my first volume, chapter 5, I think. But it's the lost treasure of General de Lafayette. Remember, Lafayette was the French officer that helped George Washington and the colonial army during their struggle. And he brought money from France to come over and help fund our revolution. And one of his ships actually sank 100 yards off of Smith Island. So, you think of these stories of, sunken treasure, and I don't go any, I'm a diver, I'm certified diver, but I'm not going to dive deep. So none of my stories go into deep water, but this was.
So you're not, in other words, you're not going to be one of those Ocean Gate people who implodes.
I don't have millions of dollars to go spend on, diving deep, I might find some gold at 2,000 feet. No way. Like, that's too dangerous. I'll be, less than 50 feet. And it's either going to be a river, a lake, or right off the coast. And this is one of those stories, a fascinating story of history, where the Dupree shows up with the money. I want to say it was $50,000 in gold bars and coins, 100 yards off of Smith Island, and the British came around the bend and saw them and sunk them as they were moored, bringing off the gold. And it's right there. And not a lot of treasure hunters could, wade that deep into water to find treasure, but I think it's there. But it's a great story. And when you do read these books, Mind Dog and GD, you have to understand, I love history. I am telling this from a deep historical perspective. I want people.
Oh, okay. So you're psychotic
by history, right?
I love history too, but I think sometimes it can be difficult. Sunshine says folklore over in the chat room. Sometimes it can be difficult to separate history from folklore, and this is the big part of the challenge, right? Is like, because you mentioned telephone. I mean, it could be there's a grain of truth in this thing that got distorted over mouth-to-mouth communication over 200 or 300 years or so. So it's hard to separate the fact from fiction, and sometimes it can be damn near impossible to kind of ever get to the truth without going out in the field and digging, right? Or am I wrong about that?
Right. Listen, you're not going to find treasure simply by doing research. There, that's why I do the 90% rule. Do the 90%. Like I've done with these stories. Do that, and then when you go out to the site, that you've identified as a target area, then you're not wandering around for weeks aimlessly. You have somewhere to focus on. And, you may find it, you may not find it. But, my mantra is, part of the treasure is the journey itself. It's getting out there. Like my wife and I were recently in New Mexico, and in one of my chapters, going right to one of the coordinates. And man, what an experience to actually get out there and look and see, oh, wow, I wrote about this. This is something I found, and the area, and discovering, where this event happened. So
what part of New Mexico? Where in New Mexico?
Yeah, this was in the lava beds of New Mexico, right outside of Albuquerque, about an hour, I want to say, near Grants, New Mexico, where Grants kind of has a history of stagecoach robberies and all that. And so I have a couple stories on.
I don't know if you know about this.
Yeah.
One of the guys who used to be on the program is a Grants resident. He's no longer here, but he's a guy who would love to be out there. He's still looking for his power cord. Never mind. He's a guy who could use a few bucks. So knowing that in the book, I'm sure if he can read it all, he's going to pick up the book and say, "Where is?"
So if I'm employing the 90% rule. So let's say I'm Ann in California. Hello, Ann in California, and she's looking for a treasure and out in California, and there's she has the legend says it's 15 miles down the river. You know, like they're in the river and they travel 15 miles down, and then the boat capsized. So if you were to investigate that, you would, I guess you want to get charts of where the river actually flowed back then. You know, because rivers change courses. So if you went down that river 15 miles today, it wouldn't be the same space as it would, let's say, 100 years ago. That river may have been 20 feet to the left or north or south or east or west or something like that. And then also you'd want to, I mean, did they keep charts of things like how deep the river was? You know, it's like you would have an idea if it could be up higher on the land or lower, you know. So this would be part of the 90% thing. You want to know all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, listen, when my book comes out at the end of December, Decoding Americans Lost in Hidden Treasure, this 90% rule, I talk about that very thing. Rivers change over time, and where the treasure might have hit it near a river, which there's just tons of stories that have the whole river lake concept, and but that river now is has long changed. But the beauty is, if you look at old USGS topical maps, you'll see where the river used to be. But if you align that with Google Earth Pro, you can see where the old rivers are. You can actually see them. They're green, they're lines, and you could see that was the old river. And so, we have this technology that can show these things. LiDAR technology can basically make vegetation invisible, and you can see the ridges of the old river where it was, right? And so this technology really does help research and find these old land sites and rivers, and then you're able to pinpoint more of a target area.
I get to use a word that I only learned because of comedy. I learned this word to use for comedy. I get to use it here legitimately. So the satellites will help you find arroyos, arroyos.
Arroyos.
They'll help you find those.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Listen, arroyos are basically small canyons, right? They're areas where hills merge and things like that. And if you look at one of my stories called the Adams digging, and this is a complex story, and there's numerous accounts of this story. The military at the time was doing some things with this, surveying the area. But if you read the Adams digging, it's a pretty long chapter. But I was able to align satellite views of arroyos that aligned with an actual map that was handed down through a journal. Now, the map, I couldn't tell you other than I believe it's an actual map. But if you didn't have Google Earth Pro or some ability to scan large areas of mountain, it'd be hard to find this specific Z canyon, because there's hundreds of canyons in this area, but the resemblance is near identical. It was a big discovery of mine, and my heart nearly dropped when I actually saw it. So, but I do know of a person that spent 10 years looking for that canyon, but this was in the 80s and 90s. He didn't have the technology at his disposal, so it took 10 years for him to walk around and try to find something. And he never did.
You're talking about all this technology stuff, Google Earth and all this stuff, and I'm thinking we need to redo the entire Scooby-Doo series, because they were always hunting for treasure, but using found treasure maps or clues and riddles and all that kind of stuff. Google Earth changed everything with that kind of stuff. We do have a question that I've in the chat room that I've been a little bit reluctant to ask you, and the reason I've been reluctant is because if I found, let's say I found $1 million, or if I found $1, I wouldn't want to talk about it, because I know the government would want to come and take 80 cents of that dollar from me tax-wise. But they want to know have you found any? Have you discovered any treasure? If you don't want to answer that.
Actually, what really kind of got me into treasure hunting, and this is years and years ago. I used to, and I still am, a Disney enthusiast, and I love Disney animation art. And I really didn't know that much about it. I just did a lot of research on it. And this is before my first master's degree, I believe. But I really wanted to do some research on Disney. So I started, and, I learned about animation cells, and I learned about how, these cells that were produced from Disney, from the movies like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, that some of these cells were worth a lot of money. And so I'm like, that I'm in California. I was in Fresno at the time. And I said, I'm going to start searching. And I did. And I didn't have a computer. I didn't, at the time, this is the early 90s. I'm not even sure the internet was out yet. And so I did a lot of ground research, calling, looking up on classifieds, things like that. I found 2 Snow White original Cavassier setups, which Cavassier was an artist in San Francisco that would, gain art and collect it and then sell it in San Francisco.
I thought Cavassier was some kind of a cognac. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But he took several of these really prime cells and sold them for $100. He put a gold seal on the back and, $100. I found 2 of those cells in a barn garage sale in Tulare, California in 1992, I think, 93. That was a gold mine. I was able to sell those at auction for $30,000.
How much did the government take from you on that? There's a lot, right? I mean, that's kind of like a windfall tax or something. Like
it was a windfall, but I didn't make much money at the time. I think at the time I might have been, like an E3 in the military. That's
interesting, because somebody in the chat room, I don't know if you can see this, but was accusing you of I don't know, being born with a silver spoon. Your name, he said, your name Pratt means you're rich. I never heard of.
Well, they're probably thinking like the Enoch Pratts, like the Enoch Pratt Library and stuff like that. Those Pratts were.
It comes back from England, I believe, and there was a Charles Pratt that was some sort of nobleman back then. But I don't know that I'm any relation, honestly, and certainly I'm not rich. I got my PhD in business. I got my master's in history, my master's in business, and I teach at the graduate level. And that's just hard work. That's just going through school. That is just spending, years and years in school on one side of the desk and teaching on the other side of the desk, so it's just been a lot of hard work.
I don't, I'm not a person who, there's greedy billionaires and there's people who have money. And I don't think, I'm not prejudiced against people who have money. People who earn their money, or even if it's generational wealth, I don't have any problem with it.
I don't either.
Yeah. But you bring up a interesting point about different types of treasure, because we think of, buried treasure chest, or we think of sunken ships that have gold in them. But there's also things like you mentioned, artifacts or art or recordings or anything like that could show up anywhere that were lost to nobody kept track of them. And so there are lots of things like that. Have you ever offered your expertise to find like lost, contracted yourself out as a finder for people who are looking for that kind of stuff? Like I lost master tape. Now I don't have any money to hire, but I'm just thinking like the Beatles. I know lost. There are some master tapes that went missing that have never been recovered. Have you ever been contacted by anybody to look for their lost art?
I haven't. Although my website's rather new. And my books are new. And I'm just retiring. I've retired from the military 35 years in 2023. And then for the last 2.5 years, I've been in Saudi Arabia, helping their joint officers become joint. And so, but now I've put up the website and I've got everything available in every format, but I do have a consulting service. And so, I took 58 stories and legends and did my best to do the 90% to get people close.
Well,
but let's say there's a legend out there that, or a myth that I haven't, read about or done. Then yeah, give me the story and let me do the 90%. It'll take a month or two, but I will dig deep and find out the core truth of where this is, where it might be. So, do some research analysis, some hypothesis testing, and see if we can get something close. I mean, yeah, I'm open for that.
Now I think there's still a show out there called Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
And I think the premise is that people find shit in their attics and stuff, and they say, "Is this a treasure or is this trash?" or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and again, because of that, thousands of people have gone tearing through their attics or waiting for their grandmother to die so they can go through their grandmother's stuff, or or going to visit their grandparents for the first time ever. Just to say, "Hey, grandma, I know I haven't came to visit in like 50 years, but
yeah,
you mean help you clean out your attic?"
Yeah, there's that. There's a lot of that, and that's why I kind of wanted to ask you. Well, I wanted to talk about things like Atlantis and all these kind of things because people are always looking for that. Which it seems like your skills would go well with that kind of search if it does exist, Noah's Ark, all that kind of stuff. But you mentioned history, and the Old West is something that I am very much just a fan and enamored with the Old West folklore and stories like this. And we're constantly coming up with new tintypes, new photos of Billy the Kid and that kind of stuff, and these artifacts where people find that's Billy the Kid, and how do we go about verifying and all that stuff. So those end up selling at auction for millions of dollars too. So do you the Old West, any kind of things that are out there that are like I don't know, the brass ring in as far as treasure hunters in the American West lore? Do you know of anything that's waiting to be discovered?
Well, I love individual characters. In fact, my wife and I, when we were coming back from New Mexico, went by Billy Kid's grave. But my friend W.C. Jameson, who is a well-known author, he's got 40 books out there or so, has done several of these. I basically, have taken some of his ideas and stories and just expanded with my 90% rule. But he did write a book on Billy the Kid. He did some good research on that. So, are there still, a lot of these out there? I believe, yes. There's Blackjack Christensen. Maybe he's not as known as Billy the Kid, but, he stole a bunch of gold out of Grants, New Mexico, and ran into the lava beds, and him and his compadres got into a fight that night after getting drunk, celebrating their haul, and shot one of their Confederates. And then they buried the treasure when they were, on getting hunted by the posse, buried the treasure under that person's dead body, in a sunken hole in the lava beds.
Wow.
And so, there's Billy the Kid. And listen, I love, you got to watch that movie, Old Henry, because that is a great story about, a possibility of Billy the Kid living. But, there's so many other characters. And if you read, just pick up one of my volumes, you'll just read about just tons of colorful Western characters, throughout the gold rushes in South Dakota and New Mexico and Arizona and Utah. And I'm telling you, and WC does a great job of bringing out some of these colorful characters.
Love
and
that.
I just consider my work just, taking WC's, ideas, and then I'm just applying what I learned through 35 years of military, right? I used to be an aircraft accident investigator. I went to all these investigation schools from the Air Force to, identify what was the cause of this accident. And you're starting with pieces of aircraft that aren't bigger than a quarter and, spanned over, 2 or 3 miles. And there's nothing left of this aircraft, and trying to solve the riddle of what happened. Mm-hmm. And so I just take that kind of same methodology and my joint planning methodology, and I just put that towards a story. Do the history, do the research. And then my joint planning experience and teaching that for the last 15 years is now let's develop a plan, some courses of action that will allow us to go and find this and have a good shot at finding it.
You know what? There's so much romanticism, and maybe it's for old people like me, but I think there'll be. Have you approached the History Channel about doing like a series on it? I know they do all the Treasures of Oak Island and all that stuff, but it seems like this falls right into that audience where they would be captivated, always looking for the people who aren't even interested in getting a shovel and go and find it out themselves, just watching other people dig for it.
Listen, there's definitely a venue for that, my dog, and I'll tell you, you know, since these books are just coming out, I'm just trying to get get out there, right? So I'm in the very beginning stages of that. But when I was in New Mexico, my wife and I basically did a small documentary of I was walking you through in my narrative style through what was happening. Through this attack of the Indians on this lost mule train. They called it a mule train back then, but it was, 15, 20 mules, half of them loaded down with gold or silver, and just narrating where this is where they were attacked and massacred. And this is where I think they might have hid, their treasure in their last stand. But doing this documentary style, I felt like, you know what? I think History Channel should pick this up because this is good stuff, and with 58 stories, you don't have to spend 10 years in Oak Island, and keep the suspense going. Each one of these stories is a story of adventure. And I don't think you should spend 10 years on something. If you don't find it, go on to the next one. There's plenty to find.
We're kind of talking about that even with comedy and stuff, is that the idea, if you're going to get into this, is not in the reward, the big payday at the end. It's you really got to love the journey. You got to love the digging. You got to love doing the research and being fascinated by all the stuff that you find out and learn about in the research. If you don't, you're just going to be a greedy old disappointed person that ends up not finding what you were looking for. Because if that's the only thing that matters is the money at the end of it, it's kind of shallow, and it's not. But it occurs to me that a lot of these people, because there are different types again of shipwrecks versus buried treasure, hidden treasure, and all that kind of stuff. It seems to me the guys who were hiding stuff weren't all that clever in their hiding, even though they may not have been discovered yet. When they do get discovered, like there was one on In Search of Jesse James, and he just batted under some bunch of rocks out in the desert there. It just didn't draw a good map to it. But it's just not very clever.
No, it's not. In my dog, I got to tell you, researching all these stories, these guys weren't rocket scientists. They were privates in the Confederate Army that had to hide gold 100 yards off a train in the Carolinas. And, they had one night to do it. Like, this was a rush job, right? How about the fleeing? There was a couple, I want to say they were Union soldiers, but they were fleeing some attack. It's in one of my chapters. And listen, you're running from Indian warriors. You're running from, a posse. You're running from a whatever. Listen, you're going to hide this stuff wherever you can. There's no big science behind it. Hide it, put a big rock on it, look around and say, yeah, those are the 3 peaks. I triangulate off that and I move on in 5 minutes. So you're right, my dog. Some of these stories, you'll be like astonished at, like, oh my gosh.
I shouldn't be too judgmental because I'm at the point in my life where I am often coming out like, where did I park my car? So I should keep your number handy. How can you help me find my buried Mazda Tribute?
I was saying there's 2 things. There was a documentary called Mad World back in the day with Ethel Merman, Sean, I can't remember all the people, Mad World, and they were looking for this treasure under the Big W.
Right, I remember that. It was called
Okay.
The Mad World. Yeah, and
Yeah, that documentary.
Buddy
Now I
Hagen's
was
in that. I think Milton Berle's in that.
I actually watched the movie. It was in the 70s.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like that thing where you got all these people looking for the treasure under the big W, and actually they found the money. They did find the money in that one.
Yeah.
But
No, they did. They did find it. Yeah.
now this weekend my wife and I was watching a historical a miniseries about the assassination of President Garfield,
Okay.
and the way they depicted Gateau, the guy who shot him, he was looking for he was buying the gun to use to assassinate him, and they gave him a choice between a wooden handle gun and ivory handle gun, same gun, just differences in the handle, and he had to pay like an extra $5 for the ivory handle, and he goes, "I'll buy the ivory handle because that would look good, that'll look better in the museum."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, treasure is in the eyes of the beholder. There might be someone that's really interested in artifacts like that. And museums are a great place to find these hidden gems.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that would go for a lot of money. Even if it were a wood handle, I think it would go for the same. It killed the president. Well, it took months to kill him, right? But
the bullet didn't kill him. That's just it.
Right,
It was another doctor that killed him. Sepsis. He died from the infection because the doctor didn't sterilize their equipment.
Yeah. Right. So now coming off of the monitor, this money and this stuff, but the ideas about these historical, I don't know if they're myths or based on myth, like Noah's Ark, like Atlantis. I have had tons of people interested in Atlantis and finding all that stuff. Have you? It seems like there's some crossover between what you do and that. Have you ever had any interest in tracking down those treasures, those whatever they want to call them? I don't know how to classify them.
Well, Mind Dog, I got to tell you, our human nature is to solve mysteries. Our human nature, it's in our DNA to resolve some sort of internal conflict. Yeah. That internal conflict, that cognitive dissonance, that is the unsolved mystery, right? The Atlantis, Noah's Ark, which I think there's a good chance it's been discovered. It's in Turkey. And, I've been pretty convinced by what they've found already, right? Whether it's accepted by, Christendom or not, I think there's a good evidence base on that. It's been somewhat located, but that story's has crossed continents at the same time that had no connection to each other. So I think there's a much deeper story. But listen, they're all compelling. For years they hunted for, the Titanic because there's a story there, right? There's an interesting story that's unsolved. The Mayans and the Incas, man, I love to go down there. I've been down there. I've been down to Chichen Itza. My wife and I, went to those pyramids, and you know what I discovered? I discovered that I'm looking at 1%. They dug Chichen Itza out in the 20s or 30s and created kind of a site to visit. But what they couldn't dig out and keep the jungle from taking over was the other 100 square miles of buildings and pyramids. Yeah. And LiDAR technology has discovered hundreds of square miles of civilization buildings, just like Chichen Itza. Wow. So the journey continues to find these things. And I got to say real quick, I really am as a historian, I'm deeply touched by history. But there's one thing about these stories that are very gruesome, that when you look for gold and silver, that's a hidden treasure. There is death behind it all. There is blood all over it, right? And I tread, being a war veteran, Iraq, Afghanistan, I tread on these grounds very solemnly, very humbly. Because, listen, so, I'm finding the treasure that likely was the result of several, if not tons of people's lives, right?
Yeah.
Their dead bodies, have been around here. And so I there's a deep humility here. I'm just not out grabbing gold. This is.
I get it, and I was thinking about the morality and the ethics of this, because what you are discovering sometimes, if you discover stuff, especially if it was like pirate stuff, that was stuff that was stolen from people, taken against their will, or all that kind of. There's lots of, maybe at gunpoint, maybe at a murder or whatever. There's a lot of ugliness involved in the history of the booty.
Right. There is. It thanks, I'm glad I brought that up, and I'm glad that you highlighted as well, that when you go on these treasure hunts, remember that, you're discovering the history and tragedy of our own American history, right? Whether that's the displacing of Indians, into reservations, the Trail of Tears, whether it's the Civil War, where, brother against brother. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was horrific. And, that ties to a lot of this treasure. Listen, I'm glad it's way in our history. I'm glad that we're well beyond all of this history. But when you see that treasure, when you see that gold, just, tread lightly. Remember where it came from and who it touched, and the demise of many folks that were surrounded with this specific.
Fascinating stuff, man. I appreciate you being here. We're showing the cover of the third book of the series, If I Were You, A Treasure Hunter's Guide to America's Lost and Hidden Treasure, which is way too much to put on a 45 record. I would just call it Treasure Hunter if it was going to be a pop song. The fourth book is not part of that series. It's due out in January, according to your website, Decoding America's History, Lost and Hidden Treasure, and that's about the 90% rule. So I appreciate you being here. I hope people will go to your website, buy the books, but
yes.
More importantly, when you read the books, just give me your ideas, and I'll go out and look for you. And you know what? I'll split it with you. I'll give you 50% if I find the stuff. If you have a serious lead, just don't go out. I don't want competition. That's all I'm saying. I want to go out there by myself, especially if it's in Pirates Cove in Port Jefferson, Long Island, because it's not far from my house. I want to go out there. Ever since I heard about this stuff, I think a lot of it is bullshit, though, to be honest with you.
Well, I'll tell you, I hope to change minds of folks. And with this research, this methodology, and how I bring this to life with the story and the steps to recovery, I think it's convincing. I'm putting out convincing evidence, and I'll do the 90%, you do the 10%. But again, part of the treasure is the journey itself. It's just getting out there in nature and just really discovering, the on-ground situation of some of these incredible stories.
Yeah.
Now, just out of curiosity, so let's say, based on your books, people start looking for a particular treasure, and let's say 9 or 10 people get killed or kill each other looking for it. Are you going to feel like a little bit guilty because you pointed those 9 or 10 people in that direction?
Listen, 300,000 people joined Forrest Finn's treasure hunt. 300,000. They were all over.
This will be a memorable show. And you can mark this in your little diary there that you were on the show. That was Gigi's last appearance on the program. So it's that.
But 300,000 people joined that search, and they all got along. They created blogs. It was a whole movement. But people got out, and they got out into the wilderness, and it was good. It was good things. There was a couple deaths because people went where an 80-year-old would not have hidden a treasure. Okay, so that's part of the find is to know your environment, know your limitations. Yeah. But listen, there's enough treasure out there. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna tell you 3 sites. I retire fully again. I'm back from Saudi Arabia at the end of December. My wife and I are gonna go to 3 sites. I'm gonna tell you those 3 sites. They're in my volumes. You'll find them throughout.
Wait, you're in Saudi Arabia now?
No, I'm home right now. I'm home right now, but I head back to Saudi. I just came home for a couple weeks, see my family. But I'm back to Saudi Arabia next week. But then I'm home permanently at the end of December. And this is the moment I've been waiting for. It's why I wrote the book, right? Wow. If I Were You, because I can't. I haven't been able to, right? So it's my time now, and you're going to see me out there. I'm going to give you 3 sites. We're going to go to the Smiths Island, and we're going to search for the debris or some of the gold coming from Smith Island that keeps washing up on the shore. We're going to do that this year. We're also going to go to the Guadalupe Mountains in Texas, where I know there's 3 or 4 really good target sites. And then
are you bringing a videographer with you to document the thing?
Yeah, we are. We're gonna video it. I love to tell a story, so every one of these adventures, I'm gonna talk extensively and narrate these. From a historian's perspective. I'm a historian as well, and so and then finally, we're gonna go back to New Mexico, and we did a site survey for 1 day. We're gonna go back there, for 3 or 4 days and really dig deep on the research there and really hope we find something. The 4th one is Justin Posey's treasure. Now, Justin Posey did exactly what Forrest Fenn did. He took a treasure, which was Forrest Fenn's old treasure, part of it, re-hid it, wrote a poem about it, and put it in his memoirs. So I think I have a really good solution on that. And there's a whole chapter dedicated to Justin Posey's treasure. And he fascinates me because he did exactly what Forrest Fenn did. And his whole intent is to get people out there. He found such joy from unplugging from his computer and going out to Montana and going up and down these rivers and looking where he thinks Forrest, hid his treasure. And, he was within, I want to say, 50, 100 feet from finding it because he was in that area. But I'll tell you what, so those are I'm going to tell you right now, those are the 4 sites you're going to see us at next year as I'm retired. But it'll be, if I were you, go do this because I'm going to be out there too.
Well, if I'm still alive next year, please do come back because I'm fascinated by that. Come back, bring some clips. We'll help you promote whatever, whether it's a documentary form or new books at that point. But please do come back. I'm fascinated to see what you find out there. And if you ever, I'm talking out my ass here, but if you need extra volunteers to come along, this sounds like something fascinating. It sounds like a life adventure. And that's a big part of, I know what you're after is the adventure of all this stuff. And to me, it sounds inspiring. And I look forward to just hearing about it. It's a great, fun thing, very fun thing. Before I let you,
and I'd love to come back and let you know how the year went. That'd be awesome.
Right. Before I let you go, I want to say thank you for your service. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. I will be performing for the vets, and I sincere thank you for your 35 years of service. I know you're looking forward to it coming to an end, but thank you sincerely for all you've done for this country and what you've given back to the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you for being here.
And on behalf
TVPratt.com.
Yeah, on behalf of Ann in California and Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls and wherever he is, they both said you were a great guest. So
they call him a co-host. I don't think we signed them up for the.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Ann said you're a great guest. Don't Go Chasing AI Waterfalls says you're a great co-host or something.
Yeah, well, he was going to replace you, but I don't think I can afford him.
Now I see it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but I don't think
found out that he was born wealthy, according to the chat room. So I
don't think Dr. Pratt wants to be known as the guy who took the black job from the show. I don't think he wants to be known as that guy.
All right.
Guys, thanks for having me on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to come back, give you a status.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Let's make that a plan, especially when you have some of the stuff that maybe to share from the journeys and adventures that you're about to go on. So, thanks for being here, and have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Bye for now, Dr. C.B. Pratt, folks. Interesting stuff. You know what? He's going back to Saudi Arabia. What right from the start, he didn't know who Louis C.K. was. It's kind of Louis C.K. was recently in Saudi Arabia, but I think Dr. Pratt was home at that time. Don't go. The comparison to
wasn't Louis C.K.
have a little bit of a visual resemblance to him, but you don't want to find out about him. That's why I'm just saying. Yeah, maybe leave that little nugget of whatever it is, not gold. Leave that uncovered. I just find it weird.
Do you have anything to do immediately after the show? Because I want to talk to you about something off air.
Today, no.
Okay, I want to talk to you about something
plan was to kind of lick my wound. You have no idea how much pain I'm in right
Oh, I
now.
do. I have an idea. I mean, I don't know how much pain you're in because I haven't took a beating like that as a 65-year-old, 66-year-old man. You did, and so now you have that beating on top of your age, which doesn't help.
Yeah, well, it's just I didn't get a chance to apologize to Dr. Pratt, but that's why I sent him the wrong link. I was literally like almost in tears, like doing my homework last night. Like I can't sit in this fucking chair anymore.
Dr. Pratt is still in the green room listening, so you know, because Matt talked about this earlier. I'm not like blasting his business. He got beat up by 3 ICE agents yesterday.
Yeah,
they thought he was Hispanic.
Yeah.
So he got
not
beat
just
up
Hispanic, but an illegal immigrant. Assumed I was an
Yeah,
illegal immigrant.
they assumed he was an illegal immigrant because he spoke fluent Brooklyn. he spoke fluent Long Island, so they thought he was an immigrant.
Yeah. Anyway, good to. That's a great conversation. Now, if somebody, I think it was Ian, was bringing up DB Cooper stuff. I think they found the money, or that's another part of it is authenticating what you're actually finding. Like with DB Cooper thing, I think it was bills and they had treasury numbers on them. You know,
right.
But like with the gold and stuff, you're not sure if you're actually finding Jesse James gold, or it could be the Dutchman mine or whatever. There's so many of them out there. How much gold or gold is the typical thing, but how much actual treasure? Like again, there's different kinds of stuff. The shipwreck stuff, which is lost, the stuff that was purposely hidden, and then there was stuff like artifacts, like the Snow White cells and all that kind of stuff that were just misplaced, mishandled, disorganized.
Or things that people didn't know were going to be valuable. You know, like in my case, I have 2 Tuskegee Airmen GI Joes signed by the then surviving Tuskegee Airmen, and now I believe they're all dead. I don't believe there are any of the original Tuskegee Airmen alive.
And I think you're right about that. There was a story I think last year where the last one died, right?
Yeah, one just recently died a few months ago, and he was like 101 years old. Ernest Hardy, I think his name, Ernest Hardy. His last name was Hardy. He was a retired colonel. And so I have, his signature on 2 of my Tuskegee Airmen GI Joes. So at some point, those might become treasures if I ever die, which I don't think I am going to.
All right. Figure out what you want to do tomorrow, or maybe we'll talk after the program.
Well, I do know what I want to do tomorrow now, but I just want to talk to you about it because you have to create the bucket. I want to know what you need to know.
Well, I just got a message that the VA just contacted me. They want to start an hour later, so maybe I can definitely start the program for you, hit all the buttons and stuff like that. So if you want to do that, I mean, we'll talk off air. So.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I guess that's the show, right? Is that the show? Is that a show? Are we done? Later in the week, I just wanted to go through this. We have the program on Wednesday should be an interesting one. Let me just pull up the details here for you. And then Jim Florentine will be here, right?
I haven't checked he has not responded to my email yet that I know of. I get alerts for my emails. When people respond to my emails, I get an alert usually.
Wow. D. Paul, he's like I don't know. He's a Native American. I don't know what it's hard. He's a spirit guide or something like that. Something like that. Let me look this up really quick because it's intriguing. He's I think he's another vet. I'm pretty sure he's a vet, but he's also like got some honorary Native American title or something. Keep the Faith is the name of the program. Keep moving forward. DePaul is a disabled veteran who served the U.S. Navy and a seasoned Native American holy man, a sacred title bestowed upon him by granddaughter Crow. Granddaughter Crow. With a lifetime devoted to spiritual service, DePaul has investigated and cleansed an untold number of haunted properties, encountering everything from mischievous poltergeist to dark entities so powerful that his own life has been placed in danger more than one occasion. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Don't you want to tune in Wednesday, folks? You want to tune in for that?
Yeah. And I guess what's his face? The Beef Man will probably want to tune into that also, right?
I don't know. Beav only really cares about weird animals, right? He doesn't care about ghosts and poltergeists and stuff. So anyway, let's wrap this up. Say goodbye to the people. Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully I don't know, hopefully, right? I am hopeful that the government shutdown is ended. GD is hopeful for all the wrong reasons because he's a selfish bastard and just doesn't want to look for Tic Tacs or whatever he was going to push tomorrow. And maybe still has one more day to go with that.
I have one more thing, maybe two, but the problem is finding something to say about them.
It seems like there might be a little bit of conspiracy thing going on here because it sounds like now you just happen to have enough knickknacks to get you through the exact number of days of the shutdown. Maybe you had something to do with all of this. It sounds
I'm not. I am going to steer clear of that conversation. Let's just say that I do have limited resources when it comes to shutdown Advent calendar items.
Breaking news. We had some breaking news before we go. President Trump has pardoned Rudy Giuliani and others involved in efforts to overturn the 2020 election. That doesn't mean Rudy is off the hook because there is stuff here that he's involved
in. State stuff.
He's involved with the Long Island serial killers murders. He is, and eventually that's going to catch up to him. And Trump won't be able to pardon him for that. But apparently, he's pardoned.
I just want to put this out there. People, if you are a golf fan, write to the PGA and tell them that you do not want a crooked cheater representing the PGA and the sport of golf, and that they should not be sanctioning any tournaments at Trump's properties. I'm just saying.
That's a fair point. I still have. That's something I want to bring up. I want to take Todd Graves.
Yeah.
His analysis of, gee, show me something where he's cheated, and kind of back that up with videos. There's plenty of videos of him just cheating away.
So if you are a golf fan, write the PGA and say, look, we do not want our sport, our beloved sport. Not to me. I don't think it's a sport.
You know, that's interesting because football has had the Tom Brady thing. Baseball has had the Houston Astros thing and the Chicago Black Sox. There have been instances of cheating in all the other major sports. I don't know, golf, a major sport. I can't think of one in basketball off the top of my head, but there have been.
Well, basketball just had theirs. The gambling thing.
Oh, yeah. Right.
They just had theirs. They were because they were black. They were on CPT time. They were on CPT, so they're just catching up to good criminality.
Yeah, I think also, Larry Bird was because he was white and he was playing like a black guy, and that's cheating.
The more I hear about Larry Bird and what the other guys thought of him, the guys that had to cover him. Yeah. The more respect I have for him. I never had any disrespect for him, but I just didn't see.
You don't like it because he was white. I get it.
No, I just didn't.
No, you're racist. You're a racist fuck. I get it.
But I didn't know how. Like I said, I did not know how lethal he was a weapon out there.
Lethal weapon.
I just didn't. I didn't like what I thought was his arrogance. I don't. But. When I look at the kind of arrogance he had, I said, "Wait a minute, that's the same kind of arrogance I had on the basketball court."
Well, Reggie, nobody compares to Reggie Miller when it comes to arrogance. I mean,
okay, like I said, I was not a scorer. I was I was what they call a defensive specialist, and so when I played, I'd guard the point guard, and I'd say, when you get to the half court point, I'm going to steal the ball from you. and take it back. I'm going to take the ball from you right over there, and then I'm going to hand it over to him to Jim and let Jim score. And I would say these things to these point guards. I would say, okay, I'm going to let you come up to the top of the key, but if you try to shoot it, I'm going to steal it from you. You're going to have to pass it. I'm telling you, you have to pass it. You have to pass it to your right. I'm not going to let you pass it to your left. Okay, I'm telling you now. If you try to pass to your left,
people who don't
it.
know, GD is in the MBA Hall of Fame, the Midget Basketball Association.
That's okay. It's an association.
He was also among people like up to his knee, knee high to a grasshopper.
That's right, knee high to a grasshopper. I was in the knee high to a grasshopper league.
All right, it's time to end this ridiculousness. I'm just going to push the button. I'm not even going to tell people. Don't forget to turn on your radio.
Listen to me now. Listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen